Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, how close is Tom Brady to retiring? Plus, Eric Dickerson explains why he doesn't want his Rams to make a push for Odell Beckham Jr. And should the Warriors be concerned with Kevin Durant's outbursts? Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Let's start with the Patriots. There's still a lot of drama in New England. The Boston Sports Journal says Bill Belichick could consider trading Rob Gronkowski if Gronk continues to be non-committal about playing next season. Then there's the quarterback situation. Right now, Brian Hoyer is the Patriots' backup after they traded away Jimmy Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett last season. And Tom Brady will be 41 this summer. Yesterday, Robert Kraft was asked about possibly taking a quarterback in next month's draft. Let's take a listen.
I'm going to put my fan hat on and, obviously, at some point, we have to, because not just that, but you think about it. Think what happened in the 08 season when in the first quarter against Kansas City, Tom goes out. And how many people would have said that Matt Castle would have led us to an 11-5 season? So once again, I put my faith and confidence in Bill. And he knows his responsibilities, and anything can happen, even if Tom comes in tip-top shape.
Shannon, what do you make of this?
Whoa, wait a minute. Did Mr. Kraft just say he put his faith and confidence in Bill? What? After you forced the Hold on. we gonna get to that later, Skip. But I thought Tommy, that's what he called him, Mr. Kraft called him. I thought Tommy was going to play another 5 to 7 years. And I believe what Tommy tells me because he was talking about, Tommy says he's going to play another 6, 7 years. Mr. Kraft.
I think it was 4 to 5.
Okay,
Go ahead.
4 to 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would mean they shouldn't even be thinking about a quarterback until Tommy gets 43 because he's 41, be 41 in August. So that's another 3 years away.
That's true. That is true.
With that being said, everybody talking about Tom Brady was going to play until his mid-40s except one guy, and that was the guy that was coaching the team. What has happened with Mr. Kraft is that he's allowed himself to get too close to Tom, and it's clouded his judgment because what Coach Belichick has been able to do is that he's always kept that buffer up. I'm coach, you're player. There's going to come a time that I'm going to have to release you or I'm going to trade you or we're going to allow you to move on via free agency. But Mr. Kraft got into his feelings and he got real close to Tommy, and that's clouded his judgment. Now, if they select a quarterback, it's going to be what I'm watching for. How early do they select him? They get one in the first or second round. I mean, no, not the first, but the second or third round. I'm like, okay, they're going to. This is the guy that they're grooming. They take a guy in the 6th round, Skip. I'm not. That's nothing to me. Coach Belichick is like, wait a minute. What you mean we need to draft one? We drafted one 3 years ago. And
quick point of order. Once upon a time, Tom Brady was a
6th round
pick. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to find that diamond in the rough.
You go belly up looking for 6th round pick quarterbacks that's going to
go ahead.
lead you to the Super Bowl. Coach Belichick is like, hold on. You got your trust and confidence in me now. And I had the guy. You say you trust me. I had the guy that was going to be the bridge. He was one Jimmy Garoppolo. But you got into your feelings and you let Tom Brady FaceTime you and talk you into keeping him. We had the guy that was going to take us to more Super Bowls. So don't talk to me. Don't mention my name when you're in your press conference either. Talking about you trust. I got confidence and trust in Bill. Coach Belichick said, stop it.
Well, now, wait a second. Where are you heading with that? Think about what you just said. Clearly, we both agreed with the ESPN report that at the trade deadline, Robert Kraft stepped in and ordered his head coach to trade Jimmy Garoppolo.
That is correct.
We also think that Jimmy Garoppolo got given to the San Francisco 49ers for a mere 2nd-round pick, and then he put on a 5-game show at the end of the year for the 49ers.
And got paid handsomely.
And he got paid really, really handsomely, and you could argue that he'll earn that money. But we both agreed that for the first time ever, Bill Belichick got his wrist slapped, basically, by the owner who said, nope, I side with the quarterback. Bill, you're wrong. I'm sorry. Trade him.
Right.
It was a mandate for the first time, he got ordered to do something in the football context that he's never, ever been questioned in.
That is correct.
Okay, so what just happened right here? This, to me, I'm with you up to a point, but then I'm going to interpret it differently. This feels like this was a concession to Belichick.
Yeah.
Like this was to placate the head coach to say, hey, you were right. Now we need to start fresh and go find our next Jimmy G, right?
Yes, I agree. But Coach Belichick is like, do you realize? You remember the other day he said Mr. Kraft said he remembers sitting in the stands in New England and them not making the playoffs. Coach Belichick says if you want to assure yourself of missing the playoff or being mediocre for years to come, don't have that guy.
Okay. So, to me, I was stunned that Robert Kraft would let these words tumble out of his mouth. I'm going to put my your fan hat on. When has he ever done that before?
Yes.
When has he ever spoken like this? Again, we agree that Rome is teetering, if not starting to fall.
Correct.
And to me, Robert Kraft was choking yesterday in front of the media because it's been a long time since he got put under the gun in the postseason because they fell apart defensively in the Super Bowl, and he keeps talking about what a devastating loss it was, and they're still trying to climb out from under the feeling of the collapse of the defense. So now he says, I'm going to put my fan hat on, and we need to draft a quarterback because then he harks back to 2008, and he dares the devil. These are the kind of things you don't speak into existence. You don't even bring them up. Why would he refer back to the one big injury of Tom Brady's career? What good does it do to say it publicly? Help me out here.
None.
None. It's no good because to even bring it up is to threaten Tom with the thought in the back of his mind of, oh, once upon a time, remember that in the first game of the year, you got your knee torn up and missed the whole year, and it was great that we had a Matt Castle who stepped in and led us to 11-5. Well, listen, you can say what you want about Brian Hoyer, but he's not bad. I mean, I think he's right in the same category with Matt Castle.
Right. Okay.
Like he's right in there. I've seen him play some really good games for the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
I saw him one Thursday night at Cincinnati when the Bengals were riding high, and he put on a pretty nice show there. He's capable of doing, maybe not quite Matt Castle, but he's pretty good. So you're just talking about a backup quarterback. What does that have to do with drafting a kid quarterback? Because if you draft a kid in the third round, do you think he can step in and do what Matt Castle did in 2008? There's no way.
No.
So why would you even bring this up unless you're trying to concede to the head coach? Are you trying to say you were right about Jimmy G? Are you trying to admit publicly that you were wrong? Or are you trying to placate him to the point that he won't leave, like has Belichick threatened to leave, and now he wants to say something publicly nice about Belichick, like he's handing him his power back? Is he saying, I screwed up, now I give it all, the whole football operation is back to you? Because he says, and I put all my faith and trust and confidence in Bill Belichick. Well, he didn't at the trade deadline, right?
And for the very first time, because up until that point, Skip, we have no reason to believe that Coach Belichick didn't have total autonomy and he wheeled and dealed as he saw fit. I like this player, I'm going to select him. I want this free agent, we're going to get him. We want to trade or release this player, that's what we're going to do. I believe, you believe also, this was the very first time that Mr. Kraft intervened and said, Bill, you will do this.
Yeah, and it looks like he just re-intervened and went back on Belichick's side because the last time...
So he against Tommy now?
What was the last big quote we heard from Robert Kraft about Tom Brady? Tom tells me he wants to play into his middle 40s, right? So we're saying 4 or 5 more years.
Right.
And at that point, he said, in Tommy I trust, right?
Correct.
If
That's
Tommy
correct.
tells me that, I'm going to believe it, right?
Right.
So now what's he saying? That he doesn't believe it anymore? Has he sold out on Tom Brady?
I think the thing is, what you and I know, and coaches know, is that when it goes quick. See, I think Mr. Kraft think it's going to be like a gradual decline. Okay, he threw for 4,200 yards this past season. Okay, he'll throw for 3,900. 35, he think it's like a gradual skip, like tick, tick, tick. No, you know, like when great, it's just like boom. One day it's like it's over.
Okay, so now you have forced me to put back in perspective what we just saw Tommy Brady do this past season. He won the regular season NFL MVP. Am I right?
Yes.
And his offense which has limited star power and firepower, weapon power, it had the most yards in the National Football League and scored the second most points, and that's mostly because of Tommy Brady, the MVP. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
There was no Julian Edelman all year, his go-to receiver of the year before, right?
Yep.
Still, most yards gained in the NFL was by Tommy Brady's offense. Then we come up to the AFC Championship game week, and here comes Saxonville. And I'm pretty sure you thought at that point they just might have the best defense in pro football,
Yes,
right?
I
At
agree.
least the best on the verge defense. It looked like they had arrived to me.
Yes.
And what happens? Was that on Wednesday, I believe? Maybe
Yeah, Wednesday. It was
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Tom Brady in practice or somewhere, I don't know what it was. I'll give you that. It seemed a little suspicious how he did it, but it did happen because
Right.
we saw video
wasn't correct.
evidence in
Correct.
Tom versus Time, episode 6.
Correct.
And he suffered a deep gash. It looked to me like a deep gash that required, according to him, 12 stitches, but a deep gash at the base of his thumb on his throwing hand. And Tom Brady said in Tom versus Time that there was a day and a night when he didn't think he could play. So that's how serious that was, leading up to a game in which late in the first half, he lost Rob Gronkowski, right, against Jacksonville. So he doesn't have Rob Gronkowski for the second half of that game, and they fall behind 20-10 early in the fourth quarter. And then what happened? Tom Brady happened, like classic Brady. MVP happened. In the fourth quarter, Brady goes 9 of 14 for 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and throws 2 big touchdown passes to little Danny Amendola of 9 yards and 4 yards to win the football game. There was another classic Brady comeback against what everybody acknowledged was the new best defense in pro football. Well, did you see any sign of decay in his game or any sign of losing it or age? Or I didn't see any. I'm sorry, I didn't see a hint of it.
Skip, do you remember in 2015, Peyton Manning threw for like 4,700 yards, had 39 touchdowns and 15 INTs.
In the Super Bowl year?
No, the year before, and then the year they won the Super Bowl. Remember, he played okay, but then he kind of got nicked.
Oh, I saw age creeping in. I saw body breaking
But
down.
did you see the year before? He went 39 and 15 with over 4,500 yards. And the next year, he stepped off a cliff.
Okay, but do you think he took care of his body as much as Tom Brady takes care of his? Because I don't think he did.
Well, I think obviously he didn't have. Tom had the knee injury and Peyton had the neck injury. And I think the nerves, as you get older, and obviously that tricep wasn't firing like it should have been.
Okay.
But, Skip, for me, is that, and I'll give you this, it sounds like this is somewhat of a concession that Mr. Kraft might be saying, Bill, you were right. Maybe we should have looked at this through a different lens, or maybe we should have just paid both of those guys for one more year. But I don't know if Jimmy would have been accepting of that, Skip, because like he said, he was ready to branch out on his own.
No, I mean, you got to fish or cut bait.
Right.
You got to go forward with him and give him his money or not. You can't fit them both under the cap.
Right.
It would just wreck your chances of building a football team. I don't see how you could have done it. Now, to finish last year for Tom Brady. So then he goes on to the Super Bowl, and what happened early in the Super Bowl? He loses his new go-to wideout, Brandon Cooks. He didn't play for much of the Super Bowl. And Tom Brady threw for a playoff game record, not a Super Bowl, a playoff game record of 505 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Obviously, Brandon Graham made a great play and knocked the ball out of Brady's hands at a crucial moment late in the game when they had a chance to go and march down the field as he always does and come back and win another game. But I'm going to remind you, 505 yards, and he's throwing to little Danny Amendola and to Chris Hogan, both of them, once upon a time, undrafted coming out of their respective colleges. Undrafted. And he threw for 152 to Amendola and 128 to Chris Hogan. That's like extraordinary what he's doing with guys who barely made it in the league in the beginning.
Yeah, I know, Skip, but here's the thing. You do remember that the year before, Chris Hogan set a Pats playoff record for the most receiving yards in a game. Danny Amendola was the guy that Tom Brady felt most comfortable to in crunch situations this year. Remember the Jacksonville game? Those last 2 touchdowns went to that guy. And let's not forget, that 6'7.5" monster called Rob Gronkowski, who's the most dominating offensive presence that's not a quarterback in the NFL. Let's not forget him because there is no answer. So I will give you that. But I think Coach Belichick was willing to prepare and cut bait a year early as opposed to a year too late because there's no guarantee we're going to find the next Jimmy Garoppolo or the guy that we feel can bridge the gap between Tom Brady and us moving forward in this draft or the following draft. So Coach Belichick's like, I want to go ahead and prepare now. I'm not going to put the roof on the house when it starts to rain. You need to have it up before that point. And it seems like Mr. Kraft was like, we're good, Bill. He's playing good. He looks good. But Coach Belichick says in the blink of an eye, this thing can happen.
Okay. Did you see last year, after we summed up everything Tom Brady did in his MVP season and his record-setting Super Bowl, did you see him even stick one toe over the edge of the cliff?
There were some games in which he didn't play. You thought he played well in the first half against Jacksonville.
Well, again, they weren't out of the game, and then when it was time, that's a really, really talented defense. Saxonville with two not good corners, that's the best corner tandem in pro football.
For the first 2.5 quarters of Atlanta, how did he look? See, and the thing is, here's this is what you got to be careful of. If you just look at the end results, you'll be blinded. Because you can't tell me for the first 2.5 quarters against Atlanta, Tom Brady looked great.
Nope. And then what happened? Is it a 4-quarter game?
See?
Is it a 4-quarter game?
Okay.
And to your point about the monster who is Gronkowski, remember, against Saxonville, second half, he has no Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
How did he do that? Because that was another classic Brady comeback. Wow.
Brady is great. Amendola played well. I think it had more to do with Jacksonville. They got careless. They took their foot off the gas. They're like, okay, we're going to try not to lose the game as opposed to going and winning the game because there are some things that they could have done. I think that could have helped them win that ball game. But let's talk about this Gronk situation. I don't believe Rob Gronkowski's value will be any higher than what it is right now because this is what everybody else knows. Rob Gronkowski is healthy. During the season, Skip, because he plays a physical game, which is the game of professional football, and the type of player that he is, he does not avoid contact. He's going to get nicked. The question is it nicked? He missed the rest of that game? Does he miss one game, or does he miss 8 to the rest of the season games?
He's had about 15 different injuries.
Exactly.
Yep.
So could I see Coach Belichick parting ways with Rob Gronkowski? Absolutely, because he's wavering. Do I want to play? Do I not want to play? And his injury history. I believe Rob Gronkowski, and when it's the truth behind this, Skip, he wants a new deal. $9 million is not nearly enough for Rob Gronkowski.
Yep.
And he deserves more. He deserves Antonio Brown, Julio Jones type money. So if you tear that contract up, you give him $30 million guaranteed over the first 2 years.
Yep.
Rob Gronkowski will start waffling and say, I'll hold off on Hollywood.
So, Shannon Sharpe, rooting against Tom Brady, would love to see Gronkowski go to Hollywood, right?
No!
Anywhere but back to Foxborough.
Skip.
You know what? You share this with Coach Belichick. I'm convinced he would love to sort of very quietly undercut Brady's chances
by getting rid of all of his weapons, huh?
Yeah. Get rid of that big monster, right? You got to trade him a year before you should.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I thought it was sabotagey that he gave away Brissett and then definitely Garoppolo. And then I didn't even mention in said Super Bowl, Malcolm Butler stands on the sideline for the whole game.
He was sick.
He was
under the
sick.
weather.
He was sick and tired of Bill Belichick, and now he's gone.
He was under the weather.
Yeah.
Remember Malcolm said that he was under the weather early in the week.
Yeah.
So Coach Belichick didn't want him to get sick.
Well, this thing is starting to feel like a full-blown mess here.
Yeah, it
where
does.
Robert Kraft is choking, trying to balance the two egos, and reportedly they have had their little meeting, their session, but one of the New England reporters reported it didn't go all that well, that they're still not on the same page exactly, which is no surprise to me.
You know, last time, Skip, when that article came out, They released a statement that Coach Mr. Kraft and Bill and Tommy, they're all on the same page.
Yep.
Where's the statement?
No.
For this one, I met with Bill and Bill met with Tommy. Where's that statement?
Okay, so my statement is that I still believe with all my heart and soul that if Tommy wants to play 4 more years,
It ain't happening.
he can play 4
It
more
ain't
years.
happening.
Well, you're on the record. One
Yeah.
more max, right?
I give him 20. I'm going to be kind. I feel like being kind today. It's Easter. Coming up on Easter.
You'll give him what?
Give him 2 years max, possibly
Yeah,
1.
That's a big leap from
20.
1 year
He's
to
trying
2.
to get 20 years with one team.
Yeah.
He's trying to outlast Coach Belichick. But I talked to Coach Belichick, said don't let it happen.
Well, to me, at the rate they're going, I don't believe Tom Brady's body is going to betray him. I think he thinks his owner and coach might betray him. So the only reason he would quit, to me, prematurely, is because he's not happy anymore. Like, this used to be a happy place for him. He always talked about how happy it was to go to work and go to the locker room.
Watch tape.
Yeah, and obviously the owner's FaceTiming you. Tommy, how
Yeah.
are you? How is that cut on your thumb?
Where they do that at?
Yeah.
Well, I want you to
that.
know, Skip, I had a gash up under my chin. My aunt got some horsehair and some spider webs and stuffed it up in there, and I was good to go.
Really?
Yeah.
Did she FaceTime you?
No, it was FaceTime. We had the rotary phone back then.
Yeah, rotary.
Yeah, you see that? Go right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Horsehair and cobwebs.
Yeah.
Stop that bleeding just like that.
I wonder if this could ever get to the point that Tommy went to Mr. Kraft and said, you know what, I'd like to finish my career elsewhere. Wonder if it would come to
No.
that. It could.
I can't see
A
it.
lot of egos involved here.
Yeah.
You know, the more successful a man is, or I shouldn't say a man, the more successful a person is, the more pride.
You didn't want to pin this situation to male egos?
Yeah. The more successful, Skip, the more pride that's involved, be it male or female.
No mercy. Hey guys, it's Joy Taylor. Before we get back to the show, I wanted to tell you about a new podcast that every baseball fan needs to download, the MLB Whip Around podcast, hosted by Kevin Burkhardt. The MLB Whip Around podcast features the best discussions from expert analysts like Alex Rodriguez, Dontrell Willis, and Frank Thomas, with new episodes 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. It's a one-stop shop for all your baseball needs. Subscribe and download for free today on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Now let's get back to Undisputed. No mercy. Is Odell Beckham going Hollywood? The New York Daily News reports Odell has told multiple Rams players that he, quote, wants in on a trade to L.A. Earlier this week, Giants co-owner John Mara said Odell is not on the trading block, but Adam Schefter reported the Giants want at least 2 first-round picks for him. And Todd Gurley was asked about it and said, quote, it would be awesome. We're joined by FS1 NFL analyst, the Rambassador, Eric Dickerson.
Rambassador. Love it.
How did I get that name?
Very unbiased, Eric Dickerson.
I've got to give it to you, Skip. You gave me that name.
It stuck.
It stuck.
It works.
It stuck.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, we're going to start off with, this offseason has been so good for us. I just got to say it. I mean, we're more popular than the Cowboys right now.
I would say you are.
Wouldn't you
You're
say
on
that?
the verge.
Like,
If you add Odell, of course.
Well,
Eric, is Odell a good or bad fit for the Rams?
I like Odell a lot. I like him. I think he's a great football player. But we don't need Odell. We really
Whoa!
We don't. I mean, we don't need, I'm happy with our receivers. I mean, we might could add a guy, but I mean.
Are you saying you don't need the headaches that he would bring with him?
Possibly, and I would say for sure that's one thing we don't need. I mean, the one thing when you talk about the Los Angeles Rams, you go into their locker room. This is a very close-knit football team. We have a young quarterback. We don't need a guy, and I'm not saying like it wouldn't help us. It would help us, but I think in the long run it might hurt us because we're going to get him for maybe 2 years, and that's about it. To be honest with you, I mean, would he fit in the locker room? Maybe, but I'm serious. I would have to pass. The most important thing for the Los Angeles Rams right now is to sign Aaron Donald. Let's just put that on hold right now. Put Odell on hold. That's the most important thing that we should get done. They should have did that last year. Get him signed, get that out the way, and get that money already allocated to him, and be done with that. Because now we have Ndamukong Suh, which I think is going to be a great addition to our defense, and that's why we need depth. We need depth on defense. We're hurting at linebacker. We need more offensive linemen. I mean, because when you look at the Dallas Cowboys football team last year, what hurt them? Not having depth, losing offensive linemen. The Philadelphia Eagles, the reason I think they won the Super Bowl, and I took them with no points, I said, I'm going to take them straight up. Then I,
You got your money? You got your ball of money?
No, I can't get my money from Joey. I don't know what's up
Eventually.
with Joey.
I pay up in time.
Okay, all right. I think the thing that helped them was the depth that they had on defense, that defensive line. So do we need let's go back to Odell. Do we need Odell? Like I said, I like Odell. I think he's a great player. But coming to Los Angeles, I think it'll be Hollywood and all that kind of stuff. I think it'll be too much. And we just don't need that right now. That's my opinion.
No, they don't need him. You talk about, you don't know what they bring to the locker room. You do know y'all signed Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
Y'all signed to leave. Y'all signed Marcus Peters. So y'all already got a locker room that's going to be a handful. Now, and I get Odell possibly coming in, but if you're not going to get Odell a contract extension, Skip, leave Odell where he is. You let the Giants deal with that headache.
Yep.
And I'm afraid they will be unable to sign him because, as ED said, 9-9 has to eat first.
Yep.
So I don't know how much money you're going to have left over.
Right.
Because when you give him his $70 million guarantee, now Todd Gurley going to want a little something. Todd Gurley say, oh, hey, what about your boy? Jerry Goff got two. You got two, basically another year before you got to do something with Jerry Goff. So I don't know how you fit it. Now, do I think he would make them more explosive offensively? They were the #1 scoring team last year. Absolutely. But that's a lot. Now, you better be careful. There are some teams that have some ammunition. If I'm the 49ers, I ain't saying nothing. I beat y'all to the punch.
On Odell.
Odell.
They might try.
Put Jimmy Garoppolo and Odell together.
Okay. And the Jets got nothing but cap room, and the Browns got nothing but draft picks to give up.
But I don't think the Giants would trade him to the Jets.
I don't think so either.
Even though it's a different conference, Skip.
But remember, half of this equation is where will Odell agree to go? Even though he doesn't have a trade veto power in his contract, he's the kind of kid who just say, okay, I quit. I won't play.
Do you think he'd waive to go to San Francisco? Given that situation with Kyle Shanahan is an offensive mind?
Maybe.
That would be a good spot.
Look at Julio Jones' numbers with Kyle Shanahan.
But the dream destination is
Yeah.
Hollywood. You know it, and I know it. And I got to applaud, Mr. Rambassador, what your organization is doing, starting with Les Snead and Kevin Demoff and your owner and your 32-year-old head coach. They're just saying, let's just go for broke, man.
There you go.
They're just saying, win now. The NFL stands for not for long. You get one little crack here, and if the window opens for 1 year with Odell, I'm just doing it. I'm plunging because I have covered your Rams way before your time when they played at the Coliseum the first time around, and it got sleepy out there. And maybe it sometimes gets a little sleepy now, but there's momentum. They're a team on the verge. #1 scoring offense, and all of a sudden with Wade Phillips coaching this defense, because Wade can flat out coach it.
Oh, yeah.
You give him a little, you give him two corners like that, and you give him a little bit of a pass rush, and he is going to come down your throat with that defense. You know this. I can't think. I can't.
I'm just smiling. I didn't say nothing.
I can't think of a better coordinator I could hand this group to than Wade Phillips. And the young offensive coordinator / head coach he's an outside-the-box thinker, and I love what they did with the young quarterback. He turned around the whole career of the young quarterback who looked like a bust for a year, and he turned around the whole career of that young running back who didn't look very good the year before, right?
Right.
Okay, so it's all on the verge of explosion. And if Odell comes to Hollywood, it's nuclear media explosion. And during camp, the destination for all the national media would be here. To go, where do they train? I can't remember where they go. Do they go out to?
They go out to Irvine.
Irvine, okay. So Irvine would be the destination.
Hard Knocks, well, they just did Hard Knocks.
They did Hard Knocks 2 years ago.
Y'all don't, you don't want that no more, huh?
But you know,
we need to win.
There's a lot to, I get your depth point. I get it, but there's a lot to right place, right time, right feel, right momentum. And the explosion would be with Odell. And I get, like, can I make a case that Gronk would be a little more valuable? The problem with Gronk is I just don't know how long he stays healthy because you look at the litany of injuries, and it's just scary because he's had, like, everything go wrong with it.
I agree with you. I think Gronk would be better served, but do you really want Gronk? Because Gronk going to be doing movies on his day off and as soon as practice is over.
And our coach likes tight end, but we drafted 3 tight ends. We just drafted Gerald Everett with our second pick, and that was like our #1 pick.
Okay, and so, Tyler Higbee was your leading receiver at tight end.
Receiving tight end.
Okay, but look, you lost Sammy Watkins, so he was your deep threat. Well, this Odell, when his head is right, is he not like the ultimate deep threat in pro football?
Yeah, what did you just say? When his head is right.
Well, I don't know.
When his head is right.
Okay, but
we can't take a chance on somebody's head being right.
Okay, but I do love a kid like Odell with a chip on his shoulder, like, I'm going to show you New York. Watch this.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I feel like, you're like when mama say, I'm going to whoop you.
Yeah.
I'm going to whoop you. Then all of a sudden she show up with the bill like, oh, she really coming this time. I feel like, because when they say Cleveland, I know. Can you see Odell in Cleveland?
No.
No. Yeah, you can't see Odell in Cleveland.
No.
I can see him in San Francisco. I can see him. I can't even the Jets. I couldn't even see that.
No, I couldn't either.
I can't see
I would
that.
agree.
So, I mean, would he help our football team? Most definitely would he help our football team. We'll get him, I'll just say, for 2 years. Our main concern is signing Aaron Donald.
Okay,
I
got it.
That.
But
I have to go there.
At some point, you just figure that out. Like you just say,
well, they
let's
should have
go.
figured out two. They should have figured out last
They
2
didn't.
years ago.
They did not.
Exactly.
Okay? But you could, if you could get the Giants desperate enough in the hour before the draft that they would take your 23rd overall just straight up, then it's worth. You got him under contract for what? One more year. And you just say, let's just go figure it out. Let's just see how we could do this.
And then we'll do franchise next year.
You could.
Next year. Yeah. So we'd have.
But he said he's not playing without a contract extension.
Yeah, everybody say that.
Yeah,
look,
but
I'm
we
gonna tell you
send
something.
him to Hollywood.
It ain't $20 million laying on the street. Like, ain't a lot of $20 million jobs laying out there. Like, I'm gonna sit out. I ain't gonna take this $20 million. That's what they'd offer him.
Oh, that what they offer?
I think they'd offer him that his second year. He'd have to somewhere.
Hey,
around there.
listen, with Odell in that offense, with Gurley, and with your young quarterback who's got a big arm, think of defensive coordinators saying, God, how do we stop this? And I get Gronk can be a monster. He's a double coverage monster. But Odell can run past anybody. He's got like crazy speed to me.
He's fast. He is fast. But I say it again. I like him. I do. Man, I wish we could.
I think I just talked you into
No,
it.
you ain't talking to me. I
Odell,
like him.
Talib, Peters, and Sue.
Yeah. I told you, we need depth. We need what we got.
It's a media dream team because it would be a story a day.
Yeah.
Well, they better win.
Yeah.
They better win.
That's what we need. The most important thing for the Los Angeles Rams is to win football games and to get back. Make sure this wasn't a fluke from last year. That's what people gonna say. Oh man, that was just a fluke from last year. If they come out hot and winning, then people start believing that for real. First of all, we have a $5 billion stadium that they've got to try to get filled. They got to sell those seats.
Odell.
Well,
That's another thing.
I mean, Odell's good to pop.
When is it for? It's another
2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
And then you're going to get the Super Bowl out here after the
Olympics. And all that stuff.
Yeah.
When you gonna buy your seats, Skip?
I'm going to get
Oh, yeah, we're buy seats. We're getting tickets from you.
I wish I might
Excuse
buy.
me?
Joy, I can't get you to pay up your bet, Joy.
I will. I'm good for it.
I will.
You actually keep pushing.
No, what I do is I do double or nothing, and then I get out
I
of it.
tell you what I do though, Joy. I'll let you out this bet. If you can talk him into racing me.
See, I spoke it into existence.
See?
I can make that. No, I'm gonna do that.
Come on, Joy,
I'm gonna set
you
it up
can
and
do
set it
it.
up for charity, and then he's not gonna be able to wiggle his way out
That's
of
it.
it.
We'll do it for charity.
Eric, you're
Yeah,
so,
me. I'm charity.
I'm charity.
you're gonna need charity afterwards.
I'm going to blow the nose off.
don't want
Eric, you're so calm and reasonable and thinking so long term about your Rams. You gotta just go for it.
Look, it's all about right now. Right now. We need to win now.
Right, Odell could help you do that.
Like I say, we don't want to put the horse before the bus, the horse before the cart, and all that kind of stuff. No,
No, the cart before the horse.
cart before the horse. Yeah, we got it backwards. Yeah, but no.
Well, you ain't going to see your Rams when you race with me. In the hospital, pull hamstring. Off the bone.
Shit. Let's ask one more time. What did you run your 40 in? Let's go back to that.
ED.
Answer my question.
ED, you hadn't run a 40 since
Answer
in
my
40
question.
years.
I have run a 40 in 40. What did you run your 40 in?
My fastest time ever was 4.53.
Now, the other day was 4.6 something.
No,
They keep going
I
faster.
ran 4.6 at the combine.
And that means 4.7. That was the real time.
No. You know
That's the real time. 4.78.
At your pro day, the Dallas Cowboys got you in 4.8.
Oh, that's more like
I
it.
know that.
Joe, I think you could outrun him.
Yeah.
Oh, I could run both of you. I'm not worried about that.
This is what I know.
The only person in the stable I can't outrun is Skip, and that's because he runs every day.
Here's the thing. Now,
Oh,
there is tape.
Wait, Scott, stop. What you say? Only person you can
Skip
outrun.
runs every day.
You can outrun everybody else at this table?
I mean, come on, let's be serious.
You want some of this too, Joe?
Are you joking?
Oh, I'm this. You want some? I'll take you too.
Skip.
Joy, there's tape.
Yes.
Skip.
There's tape.
Come on.
Skip. There's
I'll
tape.
take you too on.
You just stepped over
What about the
line.
tape? What about that tape of you getting run down from behind?
How fast who ran me down?
I don't
We gotta
know.
leave
You
there.
damn
Eric,
breed.
thanks for joining us.
No mercy.
Des Bryant's future with the Cowboys is still up in the air after a disappointing season, but new Dallas wide receivers coach Sanjay Lal says he exchanged texts with Des and is optimistic about Dez's future. Let's take a listen.
My impressions are he's a competitive guy, and obviously he's not happy with what happened last year in terms of his game. I'm excited to work with and help him as much as I can. I think together we can go good places.
Skip, what's your reaction?
Sanjay Lal? Everywhere I turn, everything I read, it's about Sanjay Lal, who's come out of nowhere to be the voice of Dallas Cowboy wide receiver damage control. I had a bad dream about Sanjay Lal last night that I woke up and looked over at Ernestine, and it was Sanjay Lal in my bed instead of Ernestine. All of a sudden, Sanjay Lal is going to be the savior of the Cowboy receivers. He's going to fix this pathetic group of wide receivers last year, starting with shell of himself, Des Bryant. And the quote from Sanjay Lal was, "Together we can go good places." Together you can go good places? And to me, lately, Sanjay Lal has become more of a spokesman for the Dallas Cowboys than Jerry Jones has. I see and hear more quotes from Sanjay Lal, and I'm here to explain to you, this is his 5th NFL coaching staff. This is his 3rd NFL stop in the last 3 years. And he's a guru, he's a godsend, he's a savior. And Stephen Jones is crediting Sanjay Lal with advising them to sign Allen Hurns and Deontay Thompson. Like Stephen said, we're working off Sanjay's recommendation. Sanjay Lal, I'd never even heard of him until like 3 weeks ago. And then I read that Sanjay Lal took over the pro day of one Calvin Ridley at Alabama in Tuscaloosa. And Calvin obviously is going to be probably the first receiver to go in the draft.
Yes.
And Sanjay Lal was running the pro day. And then I read about Cortland Sutton, a kid I really like out of SMU. I watched him 2 or 3 times last year. And Sanjay Lal is running the pro day. And here's some quick quotes from Sanjay Lal about Cortland Sutton. He can catch the ball like no other. He's got a huge catch radius, and he's coachable. We were giving him on the fly some coaching points and kind of coaching him a little hard, seeing how he would respond, and he responded. He's a moldable piece of clay, says Sanjay Lal. And I love to listen to him talk because he is a quote machine, but who is Sanjay Lal? Well, what is he doing to my Dallas Cowboys?
But Skip, I agree with everything you just said. Okay, you like guys that are moldable, a piece of clay. But Dez is a statue that's already been created. So how do you mold him? How do you reshape him into something that you like?
I have no idea. And remember, if I'd heard of him before, if he had fixed another aging wide receiver, or broken down wide receiver, I'd say, okay, way to go, Cowboys. But he's become the voice of Cowboy damage control because are we supposed to swallow that he's going to fix all the receiver problems from last year? How?
Skip, I've been trying to find out who the guy is and some of the guys that he's worked with. Now, if Henry Ellard, the old Rams coach, who's a very good receiver, who's technically sound, if you want these guys that's coming out, if you want to know how to run a route, get footage of Henry Ellard. Keenan McCardell was also a good route runner. Jimmy Smith. Sean Jefferson is a wide receiver coach. And if one of these guys are talking, I'm like, okay, Skip, we need to pay attention to what he's saying.
I got it.
But I don't know this guy, and I'm trying to figure out, bro, you've been at 3 different stops in the last 3 years.
How do you do that?
I'm like...
Jets, Colts, Cowboys, because I don't know.
So, I get it. What's he supposed to say about Dez? Everybody thinks when you want the job, Skip, I can do that. Or I can get Dez, or Dez will be just like the 2014 version of Dez.
Yeah.
But that was 4 years ago. Dez is older. Dez's body has betrayed him.
Yep.
And so I don't know how much you can get. Now, I hope, Dez is working with this other guru that's working on...
Another guru.
That's going to force him to drop his hip.
Who has worked with several of the Cowboys receivers, starting with Bryce Butler, who's still out on the free agent market, Cowboys. But and several of the Cole Beasley and some of the other receivers have worked with the guru. Yeah,
well, he works with Antonio Brown. So now I'm going to look at working with Antonio Brown and some of these others. But Cole Beasley, I mean, don't mention working with the Cowboys receivers. But I just, this dude doing a lot of talking. I'll tell you what, Dez better come back. Dez better if Dez is back in the uniform, he need to have about 1,300 yards, about 12 touchdowns. Because the way this guy talking, Dez about to be first team All-Pro. Cowboys going places. If this guy that's talking, Sanjay Law, if he repairs Dez and Dez is as good, they say they going places. Now Cowboys got a lot of good steakhouses, so they probably go in there.
You could be right.
Yeah, that's probably where they go. But if Dez plays as well as this guy is talking about Dez and what they can do, Skip, Cowboys going places next year.
Is Sanjay Law a faith healer? Can he heal Dez's body? I don't know. Maybe, because to me, he's just broken down. He's had more injuries than Gronkowski has had, and it showed last year. He lost whatever burst he had. He didn't have a great burst.
But he make it seem like Dez is the only one that can't run routes. It's not like it's not like everybody's running the route tree. I mean, what y'all gonna do with Jason? How y'all gonna get him more explosive? Allen Hurns. Allen Hurns is not a burner. Skip, he's a big body. He's another big body guy.
Yeah. And he had one breakout year 3 years ago.
Yes.
And the last two, his stats didn't even add up to that one year. And Jacksonville cut him.
Yes.
And Deontay Thompson is on his 5th NFL team like Sanjay Law. So
now, Skip, maybe we need to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe because you look at some of these receivers that he's worked with, Hayward Bay, Chaz Schilling, Jacoby Ford, Decker, Harvin, Chris Hogan, Sammy Watt. I mean, how you... Well, I guess, and it's always regime. It seems like every regime change. But he got, so I don't know. Maybe we're being a little bit too harsh on him. I just wish I could find more information about guys that he's really helped along the way. Moncrief, he was in Indy last year. I mean, not Moncrief, T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton was already established. So I don't need you to take a guy that's already established and say, okay, I got him. I'm talking about some of these guys that, that we don't really know about. It's like, wow. That guy's, man, he really worked with Chaz, Sanjay Law had some, he worked with him, man. He got that guy because he was a little raw, and so he got with Sanjay, and Sanjay turned him into something good.
What?
I mean, I'm looking at these. Sammy Watkins is not there. Chris Hogan isn't there. Robert Woods isn't there. None of these guys are in Buffalo. Now, they work with Sanjay Law. So not only are they gone, he's gone too. Something ain't right, Skip. Something ain't right.
I've never seen anything like it before.
It's almost like a skinny chef. If you ain't big as a chef, I ain't eating your cookie. Because if that means you ain't eating it.
Really?
As much as I need you to be, I need you to put your belt on before you put your pants on.
Well, that's probably true.
Yeah.
I don't think, my brother's skinny, actually.
I don't know, Skip. I don't know if I can eat.
And you know what? I often think about, how does he do that?
He ain't sampling his own food?
Well, he samples, but he just samples.
Just
that's
samples?
All. Yeah. You know what I learned in the restaurant business quickly? My parents both worked in this little sort of barbecue joint.
Okay.
Well, they owned it and tried to operate it. It was tough going. But the point is, they were both skinny because they couldn't stand to eat the food that they were preparing all day. So that's just a quick point.
Just because it was barbecue and they got sick of barbecue?
No. When you prepare food and you're around it all day, you're not hungry. Trust me. Okay. So I think you got that upside down, but that's just me. But back to Dez Bryant. The problem is, I think he's unfixable. I think you got to clear the decks of Dez Bryant, and you can't bring in somebody we've never heard of and say, oh, he'll fix him, right?
Because they need credibility, Skip. I mean, the guys need somebody that, okay, he's come in, he's done this somewhere else before.
Is Dez Bryant going to really listen to this guy? Together we can go good places? Where?
How many teams have he been on in the last 5 years? It's like, well, why? Because we've seen some very good coaches, position coaches, that when the regime change, they keep them on.
That's what I think. If you're that good, if you're a guru, they just keep you. The next head coach says, I got to keep him. And it happens all the time that they retain assistants, right? I do not want to see the Cowboys retain Dez Bryant. I want to see him gone because if you ask him to take a pay cut, he'll be even unhappier than he was last year.
Well, it doesn't look like that. Like I said, it looks like they're boxing him in. They're waiting till the very last minute, going to hold his hand to the fire, and it says either you let us rescue you for $4 million, or we're going to push you off this cliff and you lose everything, and have to go somewhere else where there's, they've already had the draft, they've already signed the free agents that they wanted.
Dak needs help. He needs what
Dak
Carson Wentz got last year.
Stephen Jones says Dak needs to become better at improvising. Yeah. He don't need receivers that can run, that can be technically sound.
Well, according to Bryce Butler, that was not his decision last year.
Yep. So what, Dak needs to learn to throw it to himself? to improvise?
Well, he needs to, like, when these receivers that can't run routes or get open, he need to, run around. Do like Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Run around, pirouette, start to your left, come back to your right, and throw it downfield.
Okay, I got you. Or do like the Phillies did for Winsylvania and actually go get him a couple of really good receivers. Then maybe he'll look okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go get him a couple of running backs, right?
Y'all, you good at running back. You got Zeke,
Well,
and you got Alfred Morris.
Eligible.
Well, you said you believe he's going to. You need receivers. They went and got him some receivers. They got Alshon.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, did they?
They got Mike
Or
Wallace.
maybe,
Zach
Sanjay will
Ertz.
turn around what they have there. Go good places.
No mercy.
Kevin Durant made his return last night after missing 6 games with a rib injury, but it was not all positive. He scored 10 points, but in the closing seconds of the first half, he argued with the ref over a no call. Durant immediately received 2 technicals and was ejected. After the game, the crew chief said Durant was thrown out for escalated vulgarity. He's been ejected a league-leading 5 times this season, and the Warriors have 10 total ejections, which is the most for a team since the 2001 Blazers. Let's take a listen to Durant after the game.
I got fouled, and I told him how I felt about it, and he kicked me out. Pretty simple.
You get to the playoffs, is this something that you can avoid, get into a moment like this?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, you think?
Well, no, it's an obvious
Come
question.
on, man. You know me a little better than that. We had some nice conversations before. You don't think I'm? You think I'm really like that because I got thrown out of the game? No. All right, thank you. Come on, man. You know me. You know me, man. Come on, man. Don't act like that. It's just a tech. I got thrown out the basketball game, man. I wish I didn't. I wanted to play. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry, but I wish I could finish the game. But come on, man.
Shannon, what's going on here?
KD make my point. That's not him. He taking this base stuff way too serious, Skip. 40 water out there. Tupac was out there. Mac Dre, the Loonies. KD is Skip in his first 9 seasons with 2 franchises, the same franchise. Seattle went to OKC. 2 ejections in 9 years. 2 years with this team, he has 5 ejections. Since they started tracking this in '91, he's getting in Rasheed Wallace territory. Think about that. Kevin Durant and Rasheed Wallace in the same territory as far as ejections. Really? But let me tell you why he wasn't mad about that, Skip. It wasn't the foul. Because if foul was the reason why he got thrown out, LeBron James get thrown out every night. Because, they be hitting him all upside his head, and he should have been thrown out in Game 5 when LeBron dunked it on him and he hit him upside his head. But the real reason Kevin Durant got thrown out of this game, you know why, Joy? Oh, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Boy, he had that old chef hat on, had that apron on, and he was cooking him.
Really?
Cooking him!
I must have watched
You watched a different game because he had 17 at the half. He ended up with 32. He was cooking Kevin Durant. Did you see him bully him? Did you see him on the fast break? Kevin Durant, look at your monitor, Skip, baby. Look at the monitor. Let's see if they got
you requested this.
Cooked him, bullied him.
Nobody can dunk on the break
Whoa,
like Greek freak
Skip. Is it my turn? Is it my turn, Joe? I didn't ask Skip any question. I asked you, look at the monitor.
Did he not open the door?
No, I ain't opened the door.
Ask me a question.
Boom! I just slammed it in your face just because you stepped in my. This is my time, Skip Bayless. What was happening was Giannis was cooking KD, and KD did.
So he checked out.
Yeah.
He didn't cooked?
Yeah.
Boy, I've never heard that.
Yeah,
said about
the best. Hold on. How can the
best? Outrageous.
How can the best player put his team in harm's way? Now you already know you without Steph. You already know you without Clay, and you just got back, and this is what you do. And they ask him, "Well, you gonna get? What about the playoffs?" Man, you know me. You know I'm not like that. Exactly. My point exactly. I don't know what's gotten into Kevin Durant. Now he's upset. Don't nobody watch games. Everybody concerned about analytics. Why you worried about what we worried about? You play the game, and let me have my time.
Yep.
Skip Bayless, Giannis was 14 of 18, not from the free throw line, from the field. He was dunking on him. He was bullying him. Kevin Durant, you don't need to do no benching. You got to get squat. You got to get your leg muscles strong so you can anchor down. You ain't got no bricks in your back.
Oh, so now Giannis.
Oh, Jan.
He's muscle bound.
Oh, Jan. Yeah, he was
a bully.
Yeah, bully. Yeah, bullied him.
Yeah.
He must be had some of that what's in that old Bay water.
Yeah.
You get tough, you start drinking. I was out there for a little while last year, Joe. I got tough too. I was mean mugging folk.
Yep. So, Kevin Durant is still clearly the best player on the planet.
No, he's not.
When his mind is right. And last night, his mind was really wrong. And I am extremely disappointed in a player I have constantly and consistently defended on this show versus the onslaught from you about how LeBron is still the best player on the planet, even though Kevin Durant was the MVP of last year's NBA Finals and shot the shot of shots right in LeBron's mug as he pulled up from the three-point line and closed the deal on LeBron. So it was over in the finals last year.
No, it was not.
So Kevin has been hurt. He comes back in, and by the way, at halftime he had 10 points and 6 assists, which is pretty good.
What
you
did
know,
Giannis
because
have?
you don't have Steph Curry, you don't have Klay Thompson.
He was guarding Giannis. What did Giannis have? Read those stats. What Giannis had.
They were getting out on the break. If you get them out on the break, let them run.
Why Kevin Durant let him get out on the break? Can't let that man get out on the break because he know what that time it was.
So maybe it's possible that my man Kevin Durant was a little frustrated and boiled over because he got stuck in traffic and missed the entire warm-up session of the Golden State Warriors.
Leave early.
What happened was the Oakland A's had their season opener in that stadium, which is right across the parking lot, and it had adjourned just as Kevin was trying to get to Oracle, and that's a big, big, bad problem.
If you don't mind me asking, did Kevin Durant not know that the A's had a baseball game that day?
I guess not. I guess he blew it.
Oh, best player in the world. Didn't know that, huh?
So this was scary to me because this got a little psycho. As Steve Kerr said, Kevin Durant snapped, and we've seen him snap all too often, and it dates back to Oklahoma City. It didn't just start here in Golden State, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But this was Kevin Durant, who's supposed to be the leader of this team, stepping back into the void left by both Steph and Klay being hurt and out, and you can't act like that. Because what really disappointed me the most on this possession was that Kevin Durant obviously got fouled. I think even you would agree. He got fouled about 3 times on that drive.
Yeah, it happens all the time with LeBron.
Okay, all right, so it happens all the time, but it had already happened at least once before, according to Kevin Durant. Steve Kerr said it happened twice before that play that he'd gotten fouled without a call. But then what happened? The shot is missed. And Kevon Looney gets the rebound, and he plays for Golden State. So the possession is going forward, okay? And Kevin Durant just quits on his team and walks down the baseline to Trey Maddox, the official, and gets in his face. And the play is still going on behind him. Well, who's to say, because you're down, like 9 at that point, who's to say if Kevin had just kept on playing and Looney's got the basketball, what if he gets another chance at point-blank range and maybe he could have scored and cut the deficit at halftime? That's just unacceptable to me. If you're this good a player to quit in the middle of a possession and walk to the official, and I will give you this, at that point it looked like he wanted to get thrown out because he curses, and then obviously, as Joy pointed out in the official statement, they said his cursing escalated.
Yeah.
And there's some magic words, and I don't know exactly what word he reached for, but if you reach for the wrong word,
mofo will get you thrown up out of there.
Yeah, those will get you, and it can get worse than that occasionally. But it happened fast, and I thought Trey Maddox, who's been around for a while, would at least walk away and give him just the one tack and wait for the next salvo. But it happened bang, bang, because Kevin would not back off because Kevin had snapped.
Well, he can't walk away, Skip, because as you say, the play's still going on. So he got to be up under the basket.
He's trying to watch, you know.
Yeah,
he's actually trying to watch
He's
the
like,
play.
man, get out of my face. I'm going to shoot you another quick.
That is true. He's not even giving him eye contact.
Yes.
And he's boom, and then within 2 seconds, he's boom again, and you're gone.
He's like, oh, back this thing. Hold on for a second. No, hey.
No. The play is going on.
Get your butt out of here. He should have told him, I know why you got thrown out. You see what Giannis doing to you. You don't think I don't know, KD.
All right. So, Kevin Durant, I've said this many times on the air. He doesn't like me saying this, but I'm going to say it again. He's always suffered from an identity crisis. Am I a good guy or a bad guy? Am I too nice or am I not nice enough? So what happened back in that 2012-2013 season? Remember the sneaker campaign, the Nike campaign? Kevin Durant is not nice. He starts backing it up on the court because that was look at his text. We start with this rookie year, it goes 0, 1, 3, 3, 5. And then all of a sudden in the not nice campaign year, he gets 12 technical fouls that year and follows it up next year with another not nice year of 15 technicals. This is in OKC, 13 and 14. 12 and 15 now. He only got ejected one time, but he's getting a ton of technical fouls. I'm pretty sure that led the league that year. It was close. I'm pretty sure the 15 did. And then it kind of subsided for 8-8. And then to your point, all of a sudden this year he's got 14 with 5 ejections. Well, that's snap, 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 where you're going psycho. You're just going over the edge.
And think, Draymond got 15. Now, you get to that magic number of 16, you got to sit down a game.
Yeah, you
so
do.
Kevin Durant is 2 away from having to sit out a playoff, possible regular season or a playoff game.
Okay. So, to me, there's something going on here that's a little bit of this be careful what you wish for, because remember, last year, obviously, Kevin, July the 4th, he shocks the world. He leaves Russell Westbrook to go and join forces with all those villains in Golden State. And they got portrayed as the team of villains. Remember that?
Yes.
And they had chips on their shoulder all the way to winning the chip, right?
Yes.
And they turned what they should have been the prohibitively favored villains into, they consider themselves the us against the world underdogs. Right. I thought it wasn't fair. It's like, they're using it as motivation against your Cavaliers, even in the finals. Like, they're obviously a little better. They just got more star and firepower.
Right.
And they're acting like they're the underdogs. So they break through and they finally win a championship, and there were no injury excuses on the Cavaliers side the way they were the first time around, when obviously there was no Kevin Love, and then Kyrie got hurt in the overtime of game 1. And this time they win it. And now they seem to be crumbling under the pressure to repeat, because it's getting to them. They're letting it get it to, because the injury gods have not been nice to the Golden State Warriors.
Iggy got hurt.
No, he got hurt. So, the strain is starting to show itself.
But Skip, if you look at the Warriors, even though they had Draymond, and Draymond was getting texts and he was getting ejected, the Warriors were still looked at as lovable and cuddly. They had Clay and they had Steph.
When?
Before they got KD.
Oh, they were cuddly.
Yeah. Oh, look at
cuddly little Steph.
Oh, he's so cute. He brings his daughter.
He was cute.
And then
you know what? I got to tell you, and I'm a big Steph fan, but I don't think he's cute anymore. That's just me. I don't.
And
Hadn't he gotten a little full of himself and a little arrogant and a little...
Well, they've been like that, Skip.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, you win 2 MVPs, you're unanimous, you get 2, you start to feel yourself.
All right.
Like my grandma said, boy, you smelling yourself now. Okay.
Okay.
Now they get KD. Now they really can puff out their chest. And like you say, now all of a sudden Steph is dancing on the sideline. He's cutting up. I mean, he's shooting the ball and just, they not look. So everything is going their way now. So, we ain't got nothing to worry about. Can't nobody touch us, because you get to a tight ball game. We just dump it down to KD. Ain't nobody can stop KD. And boom, boom, boom. So this is where they are now. Skip, they've never been in the place like this before.
They have not.
Because Steph, and when he comes back, how healthy will he be? Clay, that injury is on his shooting hand. Last I checked, the thumb is very important in shooting. Wouldn't you say, Skip?
Just like it's important to throwing a football.
Wouldn't you say that?
Wouldn't you say that, Joy?
We were having a good conversation,
I know,
Skip.
but
A good one.
You opened
and
the
then
door
you ruined
and I
it.
ran
Not a
through it
nothing
again.
burger.
Yes, that we go nothing. All he had to do was put some horse hair and some cobwebs on it, and it nothing. It'd be
All you
good.
need was 12 stitches in your back.
I ain't getting no stitches.
Okay.
Horse hair. But anyway, it's going to be very interesting.
It will be.
Because when Steph comes back, how healthy will he be? Clay, with that injury. Iguodala's gone now. Iggy is the first guy off the bench.
It's huge.
So we're going to...
It feels like life has happened to Golden State. You know how life, stuff happens, as they say? And stuff is happening to Golden State. Now, if they can get back completely healthy on time, at least for the second round of the playoffs, and they survived the first round, you could still be in trouble, because your team is going to cakewalk through the East.
No.
Well, you know that.
Skip.
And by speaking,
you heard Caron Butler. Caron Butler said a man went down to 24-hour fitness and said, I need 7 to run with me.
Yeah.
That's what he said. I didn't say that. Caron said that.
I got it, but it's about to be a cakewalk. Joel Embiid is gone now, so that's good luck.
Skip.
You know?
I can't worry about Bron, and I can't worry about what's going on in someone else's house.
Well,
we got to keep our house afloat. Yeah. We got to keep the grocery stocked. We got to make sure we got water in case of a rainy day. You know what I'm saying? We got to have that survival kit. So we don't worry about the Wizards. We don't worry about Durant, the baby dinosaurs. We don't worry about Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Y'all do y'all.
And by the way, Kawhi has gone south in San Antonio, and now Golden State is going south at Oracle. Wow. It's open. It's like a super highway to
But
championship
Kevin
number
Durant
4.
got kicked out of that game because Giannis was cooking him.
Please. Yeah.
Skip the man.
He's scared to death of Giannis.
Did you see
just
Giannis
want-
bullying him? Did Giannis bully him? Did Giannis bully him?
Did
Yes
you
or
see
no?
Kevin Durant bully LeBron James in the finals
Well-
last year? Did you see it? Yeah, you did.
No mercy. There's a new book about Tiger Woods that includes some very interesting stories about Tiger and Michael Jordan. Tiger's former lawyer allegedly told him in 1996 that he should avoid Jordan. He had that Jordan would try to use Tiger, but Tiger mostly ignored the advice because he idolized Jordan. Tiger's camp came out this week and criticized the book, saying some of the information is, quote, flat out made up. Shannon, what's your take on this?
Well, I wish it had came out and said that information is flat out made up because they said some, but maybe not that. Hold on. Now, this guy, the guy that they interviewed for this part was the family attorney, am I correct?
Yep.
So I believe he would be speaking from firsthand knowledge.
Okay.
What I don't get is that what would Michael Jordan in 1996 stand to gain from chummying up with a new pro golfer? Tiger Woods was not the Tiger Woods that we know now. Michael Jordan was at the apex. He is the only guy at that time that could have possibly told Tiger, this is what, if you're gonna be what everybody thinks you're going to be, this is what your life is going to be like. He was the only man that could have told Tiger this. And in some of the excerpts I've read that he's like, Tiger wanted to be a recluse. Michael is talking, saying Tiger wanted to be a recluse.
That was Michael's quote.
Right.
Yeah.
He wanted to go play golf and then go back to the hotel room. He's like,
And Jordan said you can't do that. He said you lose your sense of society.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I get it, but I don't get what he stood. And I Skip. The thing is that when you're going through something, I was very fortunate. I had a brother that was 3 years older than I, so he could give me some lessons about what it was like for me to go to college.
Yeah. You were blessed that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was it going to be like for me going into the NFL?
Yeah.
So I can let
It also put different pressure on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Skip. Okay. Granted, he might have took up. It's all for me. To make a long story short, because I really want to hear what you have to say. It seems like they're blaming Michael Jordan for Tiger Woods' pitfall.
A little bit they are. Yep.
And
That he led him down that path.
Tiger brought this on himself. If all Tiger had to do, Tiger wasn't ready to get married. Tiger could have done all the things that he was doing while he was married. He could have done that as a single man and nobody would have batted an eye. Because there's a lot of people that's become famous because of how many people they bed.
What did Earl Wood say again and again and again about his son? I don't want him to get married until he's at least 30 years of age.
Yeah.
Tiger defied that and went ahead, and you know the rest of the story.
Yes.
Yep.
So, and people got so upset because he was portraying one life, but he was living another life.
He portrayed he was the perfect husband and father.
Yes.
And I think he is a really good father, but the other part of it, not so much.
But if you're going to get married, you've got to have certain elements of your life under control.
Yeah.
Clearly, Tiger didn't have that under control.
No. So, I was very close to all this because I was around Michael Jordan a lot in 1997, 1998, 99, 2000, 2001, through the end of his Chicago Bulls career. And to your point, I think it started happening after the Masters, which would have been 97.
Correct.
Breakout. Just that's the most shocking sports phenomenon I think I've ever witnessed. And I remind you, Michael Jordan loves golf and gambling on golf almost as much as he loved winning basketball games.
Yes.
It's close.
Yes.
And now it's all golf for him.
Yes.
But he loved to smoke cigars and gamble big amounts of money because he had money to spend and burn on golf. And it is the ultimate clutch or not clutch, where it's all you versus yourself.
Yes.
As you know, that little ball sits on that tee and it doesn't move until you move. Nobody's going to hit it to you and you hit it back.
Right.
You have to hit it.
Right.
So he loved the personal challenge of this. And he loved to gamble at golf against that kid Tiger Woods. So they played a whole lot of golf together for high stakes, which was good for Tiger because it's
pressure moments.
It's just good.
Yes, you betting 10,000, 20,000 a hole, Skip. Now.
You got it. And obviously there were strokes given to Michael Jordan because he's obviously not as good. I don't know. Michael's like, I don't know, maybe he's a 4 or 5 at that point. I watched him some in the amateur tournaments and it was a little shaky, but he at certain points he thought he could play professional golf. Wrong. He could play professional basketball, though.
Yeah.
So, the quote from the Vegas Insider is true. I'm going to quickly read it. This is about Michael Jordan during this time. This is in the late 90s,
Yes.
okay? So there's no social media. Everybody protected Michael back then because he was the best ever. I agree. Nobody ever talked about what he did after hours. Nobody ever told on Michael. Everybody was scared of Michael, and Tiger learned from him. Okay, I'll give you that much, that in that day and age, because I was around Michael a lot, he got away with quote-unquote murder after hours.
Yes.
Because his image was pristine.
Yes.
He was Space Jam. You know, he
Yeah.
was, after every game, we talked about it yesterday, he would dress to the nines for
Button
the
up.
media. Boy,
Absolutely.
he looked sensational.
Correct.
He cut a great figure. You know, he was the essence of the Jordan brand that he was building.
Correct.
So after hours, everybody would protect him because he was pretty intimidating. I got to tell you,
Yeah.
if you knew him, he's bad, you know what.
Yeah.
You know? And so he got away with that until he was finished playing, and then some of the tabloids started to
Right.
break the stories. And once those stories started breaking, it was Tiger-esque what started coming out,
Right.
because Michael was no angel when it
No.
came to being married, and every other night it was this, that, and the other.
Correct.
Maybe every night it was. So you can say Tiger learned something from that, but I'm going to remind everyone, and I was also close to this, his father, Earl Woods, was a legendary womanizer. You can just look it up. And because Tiger watched that through his childhood, that's just how Earl was. He had girlfriends, he had women on the side, that Tiger learned that's just kind of how men are.
Right.
And once Tiger started to win and he became Tiger Woods,
The world was his oyster.
was it? Not. What's the Chris Rock line? A man is only as faithful as his options. Well,
Yeah.
did Tiger Woods not have options? He had the most options
Yeah.
this side of Michael Jordan, right?
Yes.
So, again, by hanging with Jordan and Charles Barkley, I'm going to throw them all together in
Yes.
this mix, in Vegas, did he learn some bad habits that you could get away with whatever you want to get away with
Right.
because you were Tiger Woods? Yes. But was it already instilled in him what men do? I just believe it was. So I'm not going to blame Michael Jordan for the downfall.
But I'm saying, Skip, you can see, okay, while this person can talk to you and says,
Yeah.
okay, this is possibly what you're going to go through. As you look, even that if Michael was doing that, you can say that's not right. Even if your dad was doing that, you
Yeah,
can say that's not right,
I'm with
and
you.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay, I
You
agree.
don't get to look back and say, okay, because this happened, it happened because of what Michael did or because what his dad did. At that point in time, Tiger Woods is a grown man. He's capable of making decisions, very informed decisions. He wasn't ready to be married, and I don't know why he did it. Because you must have certain elements of your life under control. And he didn't have that element under control. And he was growing up in a different time and a different era. This social media. And I told him a long time ago, they could have found bin Laden a long time ago if they'd found a woman. Because what if they found him? They're going to find your social security number, they're going to get that passcode, and that's what Ellen did. Ellen best right got that phone, Skip, and it was Katie Bardo. And once she got that phone, she got that golf club, because you know Tiger, he played golf, so he got a lot of golf clubs around his house, Joy. And she took it to that Escalade.
She did.
And Tiger tried to get up out of there in a hurry. They say he was spinning all up in Ellsworth. And she was just rat-a-tat-tat with that 7-iron. Is that club? Whatever it was, I don't know about it, but a driver, Skip. But they say she would beat the brakes off that Escalade.
Or a 9-iron.
We had one of them, but she took something. She took a golf club to that Escalade.
She did.
Yeah.
The Escalade hit the fire hydrant, and the rest is
And then he
scandalous history.
Because Skip, once it comes out
Yep.
that he's done this, and okay, well, she got this. Well, if you don't pay me to be quiet, I'm gonna get that. So everybody starts talking, and maybe Elon could have forgave one. Maybe if it's just one, but then it come 5, 6, and then you got them up. You got bringing one from Perkins. You ain't mean to tell me you ain't go to no good
bring
brunch
it from
spot.
Perkins to your to her bedroom.
At least go to Ritz-Carlton or the Waldorf and get somebody one of them for brunch. You know, he get him a Perkins one and take it to her bed. And she, he real lucky. You know, Joy, he real lucky. Cause Rochelle would have set fire to him. She'd have knocked fire from Tiger. Tiger got real lucky with that one.
No, well, I think she was trying to knock fire.
Oh, she knocked $100 million fire from him.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, the point was in this that the description of Michael Jordan is aloof, arrogant star who embraced the word entitled with the capital E. Well, I'll give you that. I'll buy that. That was actually part and parcel of why he dominated his sport.
Yes.
I'll give you that.
Skip, here's the thing, Skip. The image that most people have of Michael and the people that know Michael that have been around Michael are totally different. Totally, totally different. If you're around Michael, you know how he is.
Yeah, or we could, stop pretending like Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, who has everything available to him and every person in the world available to him, is going to be held to the same standard that the rest of us are.
Right.
And Tiger Woods is the same.
Yeah.
I was a little judgmental of all the stuff that's going on here, but the idea that Tiger Woods could get better advice about being a superstar than from Michael Jordan is kind of silly.
But the last thing I got, the family attorney said that he warned Tiger that Michael is going to try to use you. No, he's not.
Do what?
He's not. He's going to try to glom
Well,
on to you.
maybe, he wanted some golf advice.
Well, maybe, yeah.
The secrets.
But he meant to try to gain more notoriety.
It's
I don't
silly.
think so.
1996, Michael Jordan needs something from someone.
Michael was playing Augusta before Tiger was. So he could go any golf course in America and play. He didn't need Tiger.
No mercy. Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Keep an eye out for the weekend edition of the podcast tomorrow morning, featuring the best discussions and segments from this week. We'll be back with more Undisputed on Monday morning at the same time, 9:30 Eastern. Have a great Easter weekend, everyone.
Fox Sports, one of one.